It's sweet, but it's very like fragile in places. I just love the word bubblegum too. It feels good in my mouth. It's cute, I don't know.
Fuck it. Everything is changed here.
There comes a time when an artist needs to make the next big scene in its career, and for Biig Piig that time hasn't started yet. But for now, she has the full resources to make the likes want to shine on her present with his Bubblegum project. I would like to mention that Biig Piig is an artist that started at SoundCloud. You know, this essence of lo-fi, DIY creation of alternative music was so into her. The Orange music platform was her home at the beginning of a teenager who was living in Paris and found a bunch of other people at school who likes to create just music. That people were the 9 Collective, a London teenagers group who are passionate about craft their stuff in music and expand their perspective and tastes. A lot of experimental song creation with lo-fi, hip-hop, alternative sounds is all about. No exclusive things, no judgment sounds, no connections to the music industry. Well, back then, just anyone who thought like they were part of the gang. Points to you if you smoke cigarettes, by the way. Jessica, the real name of Biig Piig, met her new friends when she was 16. This group supported her ideas because they were almost like her, young people exploring what to do with music, fearless of what can be next but enjoying the real present, the real them. Real moments is what Jess likes when the creative process starts. Look, when she goes to the studio, she doesn't know what is going to happen. She likes how her brain works when she's feeling the beats, writing lyrics, talking to the producers and making a real song for her. She can go to the studio with something prepared, with something in mind. That would be not let anything new happen. And maybe it could be a bad day and not everything can be clicking. But for the most days, she ends up with a new track and a bunch of audio files in Dropbox.
Because I've heard of people that go in with lyrics before or anything else. I think it's incredible, but just like for me, it's like I couldn't, just because again, it feels like we've already decided what it is and we're not capturing the moment.
Her creative process feels like having a great conversation where everything just comes naturally. That's how Bubblegum started. It was 2022 and she, again, didn't know these songs were going to be part of something bigger than an EP. And for a girl with 4 EPs and almost 7 years in the industry, it seemed like an album is the obvious thing to happen. But Bubblegum isn't an album. It's a mixtape. It feels like a mixtape, where Biig Piig is just having fun to make the next thing. Not a big one really, but the enough next thing to make noise that she has earned in the music industry. This is just the next phase of her life.
I feel like it's a bridge between an EP and an album. I think with like going into an album, I want it to be super purposeful of like a huge, big project.
The story begins with only one. You know, this phase where you are so innocent for believing that one person makes you like having sense. A so codependent perspective where you are willing to do anything to make this person stays with you, even if you must change.
Honestly, you might be the best part of me.
The introduction is about changing myself and molding myself so I can feel love. There's that thing where you're almost besotted with someone and you're like, oh yeah, there's nothing else for me, and getting that across in a way that feels so childlike. Since this song, we realized that we are going to live an experience of love in decadence, but with a happy ending. Well, you decide that at the end. Bubblegum explores what love feels when you think you are in love, but you're not. That's the focus on the track Liquorice. With a dance beat on it, we can really daydream this honeymoon phase of Biig Piig where the love, it's at its early peak of emotions. Not a bad day can ruin this experience that only one person is feeling. This second track is almost an obsessive thing over someone. But not everything needs to be corny, you know? It also needs to be hot. And for a song like Kerosene, Biig Piig needed to feel an all-in energy to make a hot girl summer anthem. For a relationship like this where sex is an important part too. Kerosene was kind of inspired of Gasolina by Daddy Yankee. It all started when producer Zach Nahom and Maverick Saver gave Biig Piig the beat, and immediately she thought in Daddy Yankee's hit. She felt this beat had everything to enjoy and tell the hit part of the whole story. It's interesting because gasoline and kerosene are both a combustible derived from petroleum, but just because Jess didn't want to sing gasoline, she thought kerosene was a perfect word to burn it down this hot anthem. In a relationship are always 3 sides: the good side, the wrong side, and our sides, the selfish one. This is what they meant tell this side from Biig Piig perspective set in New York City.
It was about an experience I'd had in New York. I think I romanticize things too much sometimes. I was like, what would it be like if we were together? I'm crazy.
I wanna stay there where we went last night, when you showed me the city.
Jessica met this person in New York, and she was in a mood of wanting to feel love that even Jess was picturing a future with this person, because the fact of thinking in that was kind of like a way of fulfilling that empty space of herself. That is all about in this song, when the selfish person only focuses on the receiving part rather than giving one and backwards, only sees for itself in its ego, losing herself on what she really needs. That is why this is what they mean when they say, it looks like this exact Bubblegum in the cover. At certain point everything will explode because you started from an innocent and pure love to turn into a selfish one that only cares about itself, but you end up with a total mess right in front of your face.
It's quite a heavy, I guess, story throughout, and I kind of like the fact that like it's disguised. It's almost like that bubble, and it could pop and it could stick, and it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like a sticky substance.
Yeah.
This is the point where everything changes. The isolation and realization part is drawing Jessica all day long. After all the mental ideas she had, reality just came to say hi. A relationship is more complicated than just say I love you. You need to escape from the memories you idealize it. This is where ghosting some came from.
I get out of bed the same way, a new day, no thought.
The track is basically about kind of losing yourself, kind of escape yourself, I guess, and being kind of followed by the memories of a love with someone that maybe didn't go as planned.
Come on, I'm ghosting.
This is my favorite song on the mixtape, maybe because it just had a little bit of Spanish on it, so I had to do this. Recuerdo muy bien el día que escuché a Biig Piig por primera vez. Yo estaba terminando de ver este episodio de una serie llamada Easy en Netflix, y como soy una persona que le gusta dejar los créditos hasta el final, empecé a escuchar la voz de Jessica mientras textos en blanco y negro solo pasaban. Para mí era simplemente una canción muy tranquila y oscura al mismo tiempo, pero de repente empiezo a escuchar que la canción no solo era en inglés, sino que venía con una parte en español y dije, no mames, ¿qué es esto? In a good way, you know. Me quedé sorprendido por el hecho de escuchar letras en español en una canción en inglés. Fue después que busqué qué canción era y me enteré que incluso el título estaba en español. Así fue como descubrí Perdida.
Confío fácilmente en la gente y por eso ya no tengo nada más para darme fuerza.
Investigando supe que Jessica vivió un tiempo en España, de ahí que sepa este idioma y de hecho hasta el acento se le nota en varios momentos. En fin, desde ese entonces seguí a Biig Piig esperando que esto volviera a pasar otra vez, y ahora que escuché Ghosting simplemente me acordé de la vez que escuché Perdida por primera vez. Pero también cuando más escuchaba que Jessica hacía esto en sus canciones, más me daba cuenta de algo. Desde mi perspectiva, escuchar una canción en inglés está cool, está chido, se siente bien. Pero cuando llega la parte en español, it just hits different. Se siente real, se siente más directo, se siente más honesto. Y eso es algo que últimamente he visto en varios artistas que cantan en ambos idiomas.
When do you choose to sing in Spanish?
I don't really choose it, to be honest. It just kind of comes out sometimes. Sometimes there's things that you can't say the same way in English.
Ahora no hablamos, pero en mis sueños pasas.
Jessica confirma que los recuerdos que tiene con esta persona no se han ido en lo absoluto. Recuerda cada mínimo detalle y hasta en sus sueños se hace presente. De ahí que quiere escapar y encerrarse en su mundo y en su mente para tratar de olvidar lo que nunca será.
No hablo a nadie, dejarme ser fantasma.
We all have this roller coaster of emotions, and to tell the truth, it isn't easy to recover yourself when you're stuck in a loop where all the reality you believe goes down. It's that kind of journey in the picking up track.
23 days, stuck in a phase, I'm fucking sick of it.
The climax is here to let the anxiety and chaos go out after bad decisions that led you in the ground, but really wanted to break the floor where everything was set. The track is featured with the impressive singer-songwriter Deb Never, who brings a really cool verse that introduces the darkness of this whole story.
Some things are best kept inside. Don't wanna get into it.
I've been a fan of Biig Piig for a while now, so it holds dear to me that we created something special, especially with Mac, who is a close friend and who produced on the track. I'm elated to be part of the song. After all the toxic cycle she has been through, the end of the story has Biig Piig in the dark, accepting the cruel reality of picturing a relationship too early. This ending is getting darker, hugging Jess' future of loneliness.
These dreams of mine, they come to die in this place.
It kind of goes through a story of like falling in love and kind of finding yourself in the same toxic cycle of like wanting that to heal you, and then kind of realizing that's not enough and falling back into like self-isolation, and then kind of realizing at the very end, like, you know what, like things need to change. I'm really tired of the same cycle.
Yeah, with a happy ending.
With a happy ending, I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so.
I like when artists see that, not because I wish they suffered to know what the real things are, but it's kinda like true the fact of when you are at the bottom of something, the arc of redemption starts for anyone to mature. Realize about what was wrong and trying to do things better, but first with you and only you. I like when things are getting darker. It's an opportunity to see the real you again.
It's the point where I meet myself finally.
Thank you for watching the video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and that's all. Have a nice day.